Hello, this is Valerie Aiello, and you're listening to IdeaDiary. Thanks for coming back to my office and hanging out. Today I was thinking about Guy Kawasaki, and he used to work for Apple. I guess he was not an engineer, but some sort of business professional marketing person for Apple in 1984. And he did a lot of venture capitalist type of things after that. So he invested in Pandora, the Motley Fool, just looking at a list, Tripwire. He became the chief evangelist of Canva. So I'm not sure exactly if he was an investor of that or they hired him to do something. He kind of invented this term evangelist. So he was an Apple evangelist. He worked for Google. He was a big player in Silicon Valley, and he had done this talk a while ago. Years ago, I just remember him talking about if you own a patent, it doesn't mean anything except that your parents are going to be real proud of you. But other than that, patents don't mean anything because big companies can steal pretty much anything they want. It's very rare that you have enough money and time to actually fight if somebody huge steals one of your ideas. And not many ideas are necessarily patentable. Even though you might feel good, it's really not a big deal. So I was working on a project that I'm working on, and I was trying to find a speech where he had been talking about that. So I came across this one video where he talks about 10 things entrepreneurs do that are bad. 10 mistakes of entrepreneurs. So I'm going to link that video below, and I'm just going to go over the 10 things in that video in case you don't want to watch it because it's an hour and a half. And so let's just go over the 10 mistakes entrepreneurs make according to Guy Kawasaki. So number 1 is they multiply by 1%, which he's talking about. If you say rap music can make $1 billion of revenue a year, if we just make a record, one rap record, we can get 1% of that $1 billion. And it does not ever work like that. So that is something that I've come across where, trying to build something and you think, well, this industry sells billions of dollars worth of whatever. Of course, we could get just 1% of that. And really, that's not, you really got to make something a lot better than just hoping that the very least you're going to sell whatever number it is. It's just thinking that you can break into an industry and just make a portion of their revenue is not how it really works. So he said that. I agree with it. Number 2, scaling too soon. So I definitely agree with this one more than anything, mostly because I've only worked on projects that had no budget or very little budget. I didn't have a lot to lose, so I had to do things without losing money, which I kind of appreciate. Looking back, it seems like it would have been amazing just to have a bunch of money and an investor and all the things, but all the different businesses that I've done and tried and opened and closed, I really did them on losing almost nothing, and I tried a lot of different stuff. So scaling too soon is a problem. I believe that people that maybe get $5 million or however much money they get to start, whether it's a loan or venture capitalists, they go and they spend all the money real fast because they feel like they have to, and they scale too soon, before they actually are even making money. It's not good. So I agree with that. Number 3, partnering is bullshit. And he says you only partner with somebody when you don't have your own sales, which I totally agree with. But I don't necessarily think that it's bullshit because I think sometimes comboing brands, especially right now. I feel like, if it can help you get somewhere faster, and maybe you're not intertwining two businesses together too much, but maybe just enough to two businesses getting something out of it without promising each other too much, I feel like something good can happen. And maybe he's talking about partnering in a different way, and I'm thinking of it more as a collaboration way. I can definitely see where partnering could be bad. I feel like there is definitely something good about partnering and working in groups and, whatever. There's good and bad things can definitely happen. So number 4 is entrepreneurs will pitch instead of prototyping, and prototyping is the key. So if you have great PowerPoint presentations and you can really sell an idea, that's great. But the person that's pitching that actually has a working product and a working prototype, that person's going to win over a great pitch. So it's just something that he mentioned. Because himself as an investor, he can tell somebody how to fix their pitch in 3 hours, but he can't tell somebody how to make a prototype in 3 hours. So he'd rather, I guess, it's more of you're saving a lot of time investing in something that's already done. Or maybe not completely done, but the prototype is there. I thought that was good. Number 5, when he pitches something, he has 10 PowerPoint slides, and he has it at a very large font, and he has a PowerPoint presentation that's basically 20 minutes and no more than that. He says people that are doing too many slides and their pitch takes too long and they're really actually reading their slides over just talking and pitching something is not a good thing. So number 6, he says do things serially, which what he means by that is raise money, write software, prototype, sell, raising money again, I guess. Well, he says you don't really, it would be nice if you could do things in order, but really you're doing everything all at once. So you're prototyping, you're building, you're writing software, and you're marketing, and you're trying to raise money, and that all kind of happens all at the same time. There's no real order that you get to do things in. And people, I guess, lose focus with that. Or they don't have a realistic expectation of everything needs to get done. There's no order of things. So number 7 is believing that 51% control of a company actually means something. And he says, once you take someone's money, you're ethically and morally obligated to make sure that they get what they want to. When you start taking money and you think you have 51% control, really when you're having meetings, you are doing things that everyone wants to do or not doing things because nobody wants to do them. Just because you are the CEO or you're the founder and you think you own 51%, you still have to listen to everybody else. Once you take money, you're not in control anymore. So I guess people don't really realize that. And number 8 is when he talks about patents, and he says believing in patents equaling defensibility is completely wrong. Just having a patent doesn't defend you from anything. Then he kind of talks here where he says it just makes your parents proud. A patent can help you if your goal is to sell a company, because somebody might see that as some value. But really, if you have a venture capitalist and you tell them they have a patent, if they don't laugh in your face and roll their eyes, then they're not really smart yet. So I think it's something that people learn along the way as they're building their ideas and stuff like that, that having a patent, it doesn't really mean much because any big company can steal anything from you, especially if it's from out of the country. There's been a lot of issues with that, obviously, over tons of years. I think the main thing to remember is if you create something anything. If you write a song, if you write a book and you publish it somewhere, and there's some way of knowing, it's automatically you own a copyright. And people don't really understand that. When you take a picture, you own the copyright. When you publish an album, you own those songs. When you make a video, you own that video. So it's not paying a lot of money for trademarks and copyrights, and then even a step further, paying a lot of money for a patent. I'm not sure it's the right thing to do until you're actually making money. A lot of people get nervous releasing stuff, and honestly, in any professional way that I've ever worked where you're releasing something, even stuff that I've not been responsible for, if I was working on the project, they would release it, and then if someone did come forth and try to sue, they would figure that out with lawyers or something like that. If something wrong happened, they'd figure it out later, but they'd still release the product. So this is not legal advice. I just know I've seen a lot of people apply for trademarks and apply for patents and things like that before they even make any money. And 100% of the time, the thing that they invested in and spent money on didn't actually ever get made, and it actually hit the marketplace. So there really wasn't even a reason to pay that money to get the legal stuff figured out before it was even a product. Just something to think about. And number 9 is hire in your own image. He sees companies all the time just hire the same person over and over, where it's like, I guess engineers will hire more engineers, marketing people will hire more marketing people, instead of finding people that have different views and different talents and different things that they can bring to the table. Entrepreneurs make mistakes by keep hiring the same person over and over again. You should hire somebody different, somebody that complements you. So number 10 was befriending your venture capitalist. Venture capitalists don't want to be your friend. They would rather hate you and you turn into the biggest company in the world. They don't care about that. And the only thing you should be thinking about your venture capitalist is thinking that you are making your deadlines, you're meeting your deadlines for whatever you forecasted for the company. He added an 11th point in this particular speech, and he said that thinking that VCs can add value is a mistake. So VCs should give you about 2 or 3 hours worth of their bandwidth, which he's saying their brain power. So about 2 or 3 hours a month. You shouldn't expect any more than that. So it's not really like a mentorship. They're not really there to help you. They're there to invest in you, and they can give you more time, but they usually don't give you more time unless you're very successful or making them money. Then that's when they kind of maybe give a little bit more than normal, which is just how it goes. It's like a chicken and the egg thing sometimes. Just some things that he mentioned at the end that I thought was valuable was that too much money can be worse than having a small budget. So sometimes when you have a small budget, you just kind of get to the point and make your thing as fast and as well as you can. And he just kind of, talked about Apple starting in a garage. So I'm from Austin. So Michael Dell, started selling computers out of the back of his car. That's always a story. I mean, the stories could be fake and all that stuff, but the point is, or was, he was talking about it, was that it's better to have a small company that you're solving a problem that you have. If you're building a product that you want to use and you're building it out of your garage or whatever, those companies are usually more successful than people with all the money in the world, and they're just trying to be entrepreneurs for the sake of being entrepreneurs. I don't know. He explains it in a different way than I can explain it. But overall, I feel like this guy, I'm sure he has a bunch of different speeches, and I just watched one tonight. My main takeaway from him was about the patent thing, because he has worked on such a high level of products and projects and with companies that I think he really knows what he's talking about when it comes to patents and your really not going to be able to fight a huge company. Definitely think all his points brought some value, so I just wanted to bring it to you, and hopefully you'll like this episode of the show. Anyways, I still don't know how to end the show, so I'm just going to play the music.